It'll be live when this beat drops.
We're live?
Now we are.
I see. Gang, gang. Welcome, everybody, to the Berkeley Poetry Slam. Gang, 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 gang. We are here every single Wednesday bringing you the most fire poetry that the Bay Area and the country has to offer online. But before we get into our show, today's show is brought to you by our supporters over on Patreon. Over the last year, these monthly donors have been holding it down and ensuring that we are able to artistically and financially support the poets, artists, and educators that we bring to our virtual stages. None of this would be possible without your continued support. So thank you to our patrons, in particular, Aliznami, Melody Montgomery, Don Romankowitz, Stephanie Yaboa, Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, and Kalela Lee for risking it for the biscuit with us. Special thanks to Jessica Kochik for sponsoring one of our weekly workshops, and our grand, biggest, risk it for the biscuit, ain't no biscuit if you don't risk it. Round of applause to Alice Grimm and Rebecca Abram for pledging $100 a month in support of one of our venues, the Allen Bluford Center for Justice. If you like what you see and you want to support, our average donation is only $11 a month. So that means for less than the price of a Netflix subscription, you too can support a global literary and performing arts movement. If you enjoy what you are seeing, please check us out over on patreon.com/richoakevents. Again, that is patreon.com/richoakevents. But Colin, what if I don't have the financial stability to be able to donate monthly? I am so glad that I pretended y'all asked. For those of y'all who only want to donate one time, we do accept donations with Cash App at #RichOakEvents or on our Venmo at RichOakSlam. Thank you everyone for your continued support. And now on to the show. Gang, 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 gang. So for those of you who don't know, a poetry slam is a competition. We have 5 random judges who are scoring our poets tonight. And because this is a competition, we do have a few rules that everyone has to follow. First, for our poets, no props, no costumes, no musical accompaniment other than what you can make with your voice in your own body. Most importantly, no nudity. This is a family show. We don't want to see your genitals. But even more important than all of those rules is our time limit, which is 3 minutes with a grace period of 10 seconds. If you go over 3 minutes with a grace period of 10 seconds, you will be deducted points by our scorekeeper, Tino. Give it up for Tino for doing math on a Wednesday night. Gang. If you go over 4 minutes, then you will be muted and awkwardly played off stage by our DJ and live streamer Arvin, aka DJ the Genetically Modified Beats. Don't think I forgot about that DJ name. That shit is sick. But if you start to hear this music rise and you realize that suddenly I am staring at the screen and awkwardly talking, and you are no longer this is a very clear example, like what just happened, that you have been muted by the powers that be, aka the god of slam, and it is no longer the middle of your poem. It is now the end of your poem because we have a finite time to be here. We have people who are from across the country performing and working tonight, so we want to respect everybody's time. Please, please, please keep to the time limits, which brings us to our next. It's not really a rule, it's more of a gimmick, a time-honored tradition, if you will, which is word of the day. Poets who use word of the day in their poem get an extra point in the first round. So the word of the day brought to us by, I do believe, Webster. I want to say Webster. I don't know where they got it from today. But the word is bevy, which is a large group or collection or a group of animals, especially quail. So if you use the word bevy organically in your poem, then you get an extra point. And when I say organically, I mean organically. You can't just name your poem Bevy and be like, this is a poem about my dad. It doesn't work like that. But if you do use bevy in your poem, you do get that extra point. Next, we have rules for Audience, yes, I am going to tell you what to do in the comfort of your own home. Number one, like, share, and subscribe to our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the Berkeley Poetry Slam. Comment on the feed. Let us know how much you like these poems. Be more enthusiastic than you would be at a normal slam. It's hard out here doing shit in these internet streets, not being able to get that instant gratification of people cheering and clapping and snapping. So please let us know what y'all are feeling. And number three, freedom of speech. You people are going to be able to come up here and say whatever the fuck they want, but freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. And because we believe in accountability, we believe in having conversations. So we ask that if you hear something that is fucked up, or you have questions about, or you're confused, or you just want to further have a conversation, have those conversations, but have them respectfully. I don't want none of y'all motherfuckers coming up and DMing my shit talking about so-and-so said this because they were heard something at your slam. No, have those conversations respectfully and leave me the hell out of it. I host this shit. I don't run your life. But be prepared for that. Be prepared to hear whatever the fuck these poets have to say, and also be prepared to might have some conversations about that. But now that we have the rules for the audience out the way, I have rules for our judges. Judges will be scoring the poets from 0.0 to 10.0. 0.0 is the worst piece of shit you have ever heard in your life. That poem is worthless. You would not use the paper that it is written on to wipe your ass, and a 10.0 is the best thing ever. It's like 4-ply toilet paper. For all of y'all real niggas who know what I'm talking about, y'all know how good 4-ply is. I won't let my wife go to the grocery store and get 2-ply. I can't. No, I'm bougie. But that level of bouginess is what we expect to see from a 10.0. And so there aren't many zeros, there aren't many 10s. Score accordingly. We have this disease going around. It's not COVID, it is score creep. Score creep is when, as the night goes on and you may or may not have a few substances, maybe drinking, maybe smoking, maybe drinking and smoking. I don't judge, but you do. And when that happens, the scores start to get higher because poetry starts to magically sound better in our intoxication. We ask that you don't do that. So to help you stay consistent, we are going to have a sacrifice, someone to get you ready for poetry, to be your calibration. They will go first. We will score them as if they are in the slam. They are not in the slam. They are your practice round. So if you like the poets that come after more, score them higher. If you like their poems less, score them lower. But we just ask that you stay consistent. And yeah, I think that is all for the judges, other than thank y'all for volunteering to be some really judgmental motherfuckers tonight. But we have our rules for our poets, we have our rules for our audience, and our rules for our judges. So tonight, reading in this order, we have Miles, followed by followed by Dog Days Are Over, Alex the Great, Joshua Merchant, Chev, and ending the night off with Solva. Give it up for everybody performing tonight. Gang, gang, gang. So I think we have everything that we need. Are we ready to start the show?
Yeah.
We are not, in fact, ready to start the show. Before we start the show, we do need our sacrifice, someone to get you ready for poetry, to spill the blood. Everyone say spill the blood.
Spill the blood.
Spill the blood.
So I want everyone to give a nice round Berkeley Slam welcome to our sacrifice, Reggie. Gang, 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 gang,
Go,
gang,
Reggie.
Can you hear me?
Indeed.com.
Black folks always gotta be perfect. Be big smiles, but small hair. Gotta have a little bit of heat, but not enough to burn the hand that pays you. We always call ourselves roses, but some days I wanna burn away all my petals and become just the thorns. Become a weapon sharpening my teeth against the bevy of white men that try to test me, but to be black is to silence yourself for a motherfucking paycheck. Is to sell your humanity for rent money, cause yeah, that whole Jennifer from 2 Offices Over is low-key racist. But activism ain't gonna pay your bills. You can't even light a candle with the fire in your belly when they cut the lights off. White tears be too salty to keep a nigga hydrated when they take the water too. So sometimes survival is within your oppression. Like, I am tired of white folks trying to touch my hair where I am taking phone calls at work. I am tired of my rap music being called too loud when they've been blasting Taylor Swift all day, but I am more tired of skipping lunch, of hopping the subway home, of bargaining with a bus driver for an almost free ride enough the way he pities me because he knows how tough it is to be Black in the workplace too. Sometimes silence is the only thing between me and a casket. Complacency, the only thing keeping me off these streets. Some days, I want to trade in my Black power fist for a golden noose just to keep food on the table. Other days, I want to sit at my desk and scream at the top of my lungs, but I silence my earthquake of a voice before a white woman can complain about the way it shook the room. And Dan calls me by the wrong name again. And I have to stop myself from reminding him exactly who the fuck I am, because I am somebody's employee before I am myself. I am my own death before I am a revolution, and someone will rename my ghost and give it my position. And look how grateful they expect me to be now that I have left a legacy for them to exploit too. Like, it is the Negro's job to bow at Master's feet and give up all of ourselves only to be left with the scraps of our identities. Like, I should be grateful that he gave me back anything at all. And I can't even say shit because it is a white man who signs my check. And therefore, it is a white man who decides how many nights I go to bed hungry this week. So yes, today, I am fucking perfect. I wake up early to prepare myself for work. I don fresh roses in my hair. Watch me swallow my voice to fit in a white man's palms without bleeding. Watch him devour the rest of me and then line his pockets with my bones.
All right, give it up one more time for our sacrifice, Reggie. Gang, 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 gang. Judges, you know what to do. Send your scores into our scorekeeper, Tino. Gang, gang, gang. All right. With that, I do believe we are actually ready to start the show. So on deck, we have Mai, but coming up to the stage, give maximum love for the first poet of the first round. Give it up for Maya.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Woo. Can I get a mic check? Can y'all hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
We hear you.
Just a brief trigger warning or content warning for some themes of racial violence. The real reason Franklin didn't go trick-or-treating with Charlie Brown is Charlie Brown was in the Klan, y'all. Charles led a cavalry through his neighborhood with nothing but white sheets covering all but the blacks of their eyes in search of their mystical divine leader, the Great Pumpkin. It's important to note here that Peppermint Patty and Marcy were given witches' masks, right? Franklin is nowhere to be found in most images of Brown's quest to find the Great Pumpkin, and I can only assume Franklin's parents, who came of age under razor-sharp wings of ravenous predators themselves, warned him of becoming too familiar. Wah, 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 wah. Roughly translates to all penfolk ain't kinfolk now. And so that night, I'm sure Franklin stayed home to fashion his own mask and cloak. Franklin was born a child 11 days after Martin Luther King Jr. was crucified, then resurrected to become, among a bevy of other things, a cudgel for white folks to bludgeon what was left of his dream, what was not left, in a splattered menagerie on a Tennessee balcony. Franklin ushered into our world at the written behest of a white woman who, in her words, quote, had been asking herself what she could do to change those conditions in our society. Schultz, the cartoonist, replied to her letter shortly thereafter, quote, "You will be pleased to know that I have taken the first step in doing something about presenting a Negro child in the comic strip during the week of July 29. I have drawn an episode which I think will please you. And I pray that white woman was pleased, for there Franklin appeared, violently summoned like his ancestors before him from the ebb of another ocean. Salt caking curls, pen marks cocooning his outline indifference. He, unlike Pigpen, was the embodiment of those scratches, because how else would we marvel at our society's changed conditions? So out from probably the mouth of the Atlantic Ocean sprang Franklin, ready to be helpful. Is this your beach ball? He says to the Klansman, who in turn responds with kindness cartoonish for a white man like Charles, who, for what it's worth, is misunderstood. Perhaps not a victim of economic anxiety, since he could always spare a nickel to go to Lucy for advice that he would not follow. But his plight persisted nevertheless, high-stepping, tantalizingly close to his goal, laces and leather square on his soul, his certainty of success ripped from beneath, both his world upended. This could not stand. There needed to be an other, someone to put across the table, someone to forget to invite on your hayride. Then, with what little leftover kerosene, power the gas stove to casually reheat leftovers after a long day. And did you know that the first human to ever gaslight someone was also named Charles? I wonder if anyone ever asked him why he felt such goodness in grief.
Woo! All right, give it up one more time.
Let's go, Miles.
Gang. All right, judges, send your
right.
scores into our scorekeeper, Tino. And our last poet, the sacrifice, Reggie, got a score of a 29.6. Damn. Judges, I need y'all to keep this energy all night. Stay consistent. Remember what I said? Stay consistent. But if you like what you are hearing and you feel inspired by the words, not just inspired like, oh my gosh, poetry is amazing, but inspired to the level like, yo, I want to do this shit. Check us out before all of our shows, before the Berkeley Slam at 7 p.m. via Zoom. You can check out our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook. We have a writing workshop. It is really amazing. It is for beginners. It is for slam champions. We're just here to get our ideas out on paper through guided prompts. And it's really a big way for us to be able to continue this amazing community of art and make sure that we're not just showcasing art, but creating the culture that makes the Bay such an amazing place for poetry. So if that interests you, check us out at Berkeley Slam. Today's workshop was actually run by our sacrifice Reggie. So if you liked any of their poems, you should definitely check out our writing workshops. Without further ado, let's move on with this show. On deck, we have Dog Days Are Over, but coming up to the stage, give maximum love to my.
Let's go,
Check.
We can hear you.
Amazing content warning for hospitals and specifically psychiatric hospitals and addiction. Sorry. This is an ode to water in 5 parts. 1. Today, I only had to get out of bed twice, and that was admirable. Today, the withdrawals were half as bad as yesterday. Yesterday's the second day into avoiding 6 feet deep, 8 ODs the way we got here in the first place, though. At the emergency room, they give me at least a gallon of water. It probably saved me. Still left a better taste in my mouth, though. Throat still dry, still thirsting for more contaminated pill-taking water, still full of 1 too many gallons of water. I'd like to think this was my choosing, but only my dilated pupils and the gods know the truth of the matter. Whenever I choose to die, someone chooses otherwise for another day. That's never mine. I'm alive again. 2. I read my rights every morning and night with my meds. The nurse usually checks my tongue by the 3rd paragraph of the introduction, so this is my introduction. I'm an addict. My rights include claim to mean treatment and access to a telephone. My rights do not include drawstrings, shoelaces, or peace of mind. I am nameless psych ward patient in room 1305, no allergies known. The man across the hall stares at me too long for comfort, so I tell someone. The nurses tell me I am mistaken, but I wonder how many times I have been mistaken for water, mistaken for a body that moves whenever it is pushed, mistaken for a body that drowns itself in itself, for a body that does not know the word no. I become a bevy of waterways, rivers are veins, and I drown in my own silence. 3. I only had to read my prayers 5 times today, 4 positions I fell asleep in, then cried 3 days straight. Still too queer for the nurses to spit out my real name. I will drown their mouths in this water until they can cough up the sound of a name so holy it can never come from scratchy throated mouths again. And for the first time in a while, I don't feel like dying. That's 50 times I've half fallen in love with the idea of living for. Chapel pews rot until I come home to them. They wait for the day I can finally feel at home in a seat made for worship. I hear hymns of healing, still not enough to have saved me the last 12 times. The sermon ended with mention of a river, a stream only the mud could find. So I became the mud, had to seek out every piece of me in hopes of getting it back. I haven't found all of me yet. I'm still trying. Just another one of my waterways. I've learned to pray, head straight, eyes open, arms anywhere. The way I feel something all around me, hoping it's not something sour. 5. Now I'm starting to wonder how many times I can be mistaken for water. How many times I can shapeshift into whatever you need me to be. I wonder how many times you will fold this potty while pipes grow around me and I shrink. And I shrink and I shrink and I am barely water, more pieced together than peaceful, still barely water. Maybe that's the truth though. Maybe I am water. Maybe I'm ocean. Maybe I'm tsunami. Maybe I can be a body that does not know forgiveness. Thank you.
Woo! Let's fucking go, Mike.
Right. Give it
Oh
up one
my
more time
God.
for Mike. Gang, 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 gang. And our last poet, Miles, got a grand total score of a 30 out of 30. Give it up for the poet and not the scores. Judges, let's just all I just want to give the judges a reminder. I have no personal feelings about the scores. I would just like to remind the judges, we have a whole rest of the slam left to go, and y'all still have to stay consistent. Just like to let y'all know that. Anybody who's ever had... Look, y'all need to stop saying that shit in the chat. You're fucking me up. They keep saying in the chat that the scores are high as quotes. This isn't me, by the way. Quote, ego pussy, and it fucks me up every time I see it. Every single time I see it. Okay. Moving along so I don't get fucked up by these motherfuckers in the chat again. On deck, we have Dog Days Are Over is not on deck. In fact, on deck, we have Alex the Great. But coming up to the stage right now, give maximum love to Dog Days Are Over.
It's Glow Florence Wedge.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Silent. A meditation on the portraiture of my brown queer. Too many marginalized voices continue to silence our throats, and limbs, even after the hands choking us over our mouths, have faded into aerial time. Opening a closed throat can take more than the fingertips, larynx still frigid to newly blood-warmed fingertips. Fingerprints spiral, novel skin rose-hued warmth into their crevices. This newfound living totem, a metaphor for the same way we can still rejuvenate the branches in our voice, can still encourage its delicate green shoots to reach its minuscule fingers towards a sun it cannot even see yet, but knows to not take initial dimmed solar light as discouragement. A bevy of hands can prism sun rays and illuminate your throat. Your voice sees blurred collages of color as the distance it must reach to the tip of your tongue. Always mean a chance to sharpen the edges in your vision by vibrating the chords in your throat to fine-tune their ridges into crystalled clarity. Sometimes a pale cishet wound blooms a revolution. I will always be a semi-eternal song. No more waiting for any other soul to open my mouth at the seams for me. No more waiting for anyone else to bleed my crimson rivulets for me. Never going to kill the sun and moon dancing on my tongue. Watch as their music tells you how I've bled out all the silent out of me today. Today is my throat as a freed violin soaring in harmonic clarity. Strings of song reaching their finger-like fibers deep into the crevices of your cranium. My thickening, sturdy taproots ground me in miracles I cannot comprehend. Remembering my blooming, wild, prickly roses can tee away sore throats like the flowers that would pass indigenous throats. Muted by history, genocide is successful when the survivor's screaming is still mangled as decrescendoing whispered echoes in the caves of their descendants' throat and language collapsing because they became pained by their own excruciating weight. Because sore raw skin still heals faster than husked, gaping, unscabbed wounds, you must reopen to bleed into closing itself properly on the second attempt at mending. Resuscitation. I am always rebirthed chameleon, steadfast shapeshifter. You'll never catch me by the neck alive.
Gang, 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 gang. Give it up for Dog Days Are Over Squad Gang. Blah, ga, 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 ga. And our last poet, judges, get your scores in to Tino. And our last poet, Mai, got a score of a 29.5. Give it up for the scores and not the poets. If you like what you are seeing here and you're like, oh my gosh, these poets are amazing, how do I see more of their work? Well, do I have the thing for you? Go check us out on youtube.com/Bay Poets Unite. And we have videos of a lot of live performances from some of the poets that you've seen tonight, other poets who are in our community. And because one of our shows, the Oakland Slam, is back in person, we are working on getting even more videos from the last couple months up on there. You can also check out any live streams that you might have missed. They are all up there on youtube.com/Bay Poets Unite. Yes, we have everything from the pandemic, and as Arvin noted in the comment section, we have everything from before the scandemic. All right. But yes, if you like what you see, please check us out, Bay Poets Unite. We're really trying to be like the West Coast Button. Don't tell Button that, but we're trying to be the West Coast Button. Like the West Coast right about now. They're good people, but there's like not anybody showcasing Bay Area art the way we are. And we want to be that platform for our artists. So that they don't have to travel halfway across the country just for someone to know who their name is. They can stay right here in the Bay. All right. So on deck, we have Joshua Merchant, but coming to the stage right now, give maximum love to our next poet in the slam. Give it up for Alex the Great.
Yeah.
Fucking go.
Woo.
I tried to call myself depressed once, attempted to label myself a statistic to a sickness that I had no true cognizance of. My throat wrestled my tongue back down my chest, said emphatically how this body ain't never been home to misery. Ain't no welcome mat or no visiting hours either. Instead, I chose to think of all the things that a gracious mouth would conjure up, about all the folks who love me, about a God who continuously saves me, about forgiveness, especially when I'm so undeserving. And even through all my sad days, my bad days, my I can't complain, but things could be better days, I found joy seeping through the cracks of my window pane, and iridescent sunlight on my dark days, a symphony to my beating heart, my inspiration. I found beauty in this melanin, my blackness. Black joy is a wailing police sirens that don't pull you over, because ain't no happiness that can ever warm a Black person's heart like limbering beneath the brink of death. When your whole life is a misfire in a chamber, an involuntary game of Russian roulette, you stay ever thankful for the miracle of breath. Black joy is that direct deposit hitting your account a day early. Holding the big six in space, holding the big six in dominoes, winning at hand of spades. Saturday mornings sleeping in, soul train lines, cookouts, the family gatherings, the DJ playing your favorite song, the unspoken what's up and adapt or head nod, mama catching a cramp around that third stroke of the belt, how the front porch stay covered in old folk storytelling, how the backyard carries a bevy of kin in its soil, grandma with an underhanded $20 bill handshake, that new job joy, that newborn baby smell joy, grandpa's 85th birthday joy, hearing those 3 words, you've been approved. Black joy is a moment when the beat drop and your favorite auntie holler, oh yeah, this is my song. Beating the odds, forge a new path, a life not reduced to a hashtag, creating a legacy, laughing carelessly. Sunday morning devotionals, the praise and the worship team, praise and portion at church bulletin, knowing the meaning of those 2 words, but God, having a song to sing, fresh out the salon, looking on fleek, Black joy is being on fleek, type, slang, on point, beat to the gods, Black joy is broken English, spoken in slang with a Mississippi backwoods southern drawl, that Midwest swang, East Coast Jones, West Side beat so lit, Black joy is the prayer, the omen, the amen, early mornings on Christmas with family, opening gifts, little black dress joy, 3-piece suit joy, found some cash in my couch cushions joy, unspeakable joy. Black joy is at work in every breath, a testament to the power of active resistance, to defiance. This is Blackness. This is Black joy.
All right, gang. Give it up one more time for Alex the Great and judges. Please send your scores into Tino as quick as possible. Our last poet, Dog Days Are Over, got a score of a 29.8. Yes, a 29.8. Give it up for the poets and not the scores. I know we have so much shit going on here at Rich Oak Events, and one of the things that we are working on right now, or working with, is we got a show with Milani Pelly, who is facilitating some workshops for women in femmes at Spats Bar in Berkeley Slam in Berkeley, starting this week. If you want more information about that, check out our Instagram, check out Milani Pelly on Instagram and Facebook. But this is going to be a really amazing experience. There are limited spaces and it's free, which means if you want to go, hit that shit up right now, or you're not going to have a fucking space, because it's free and it's limited space and it's already almost filled up for the first workshop. So go ahead and check that shit out. They're going to be working and writing about really, really, really dope shit. And Milani is a really good friend of ours. So support the folks who have been supporting us. All right, on deck, we have Sheb coming up to the stage right now. Give maximum love to Joshua Merchant.
Go Josh.
Can y'all hear me?
We can
We
hear you.
can.
Yes.
She sits on the patio holding $1 worth of life, or maybe tapping the opposite. The cool breeze meant to air out the house, splitting the smoke between grass and couch is more honest. If I asked for a list of names, leaving her face drifting in furrows, she'd giggle. Somewhere, an ungrateful farmer became a tool rusting in the rain. Gods laugh at those who think themselves lightning, caress the scorched earth with 2 fingers, knowing somewhere the soil is still good. The scorched earth caresses her with 2 fingers. Still, the soil is good. She is held on the patio, sitting, $1 worth of life, or maybe believes God is laughing at her lightning. The cool breeze slamming the door between the living room and outside is just as honest. Being outside reminds her she's free to cry, but a halt cannot exist where rust will take its place in the rain. When I asked for the location of hands to be crafted into good look charms, she giggled. I draped the living room with hands of a bill collector like Christmas lights just to hear more giggles. Next, the palms promised as thrones. 2 fingers snipped, shoved into the scorched earth. She'll caress during the rebirth of the good, die wicked. The wild die quiet. The scorned and depleted are born outside waiting for rain. She is a patio holding $1 for safekeeping for life. At least natural disasters are honest. Tortures have no reason to complain to lightning. Ever ask a fool the difference between a solar beam and a strike of lightning? She asked me this. Nervously, I giggled. One has already lived fully. The other spur of the moment. Both are honest. One's impact is based solely of that, of force. The other's not seen as bad or good, just a necessary experience, a part of life. I guess both are, huh? You smell that? Finally, rain. Somewhere an ungrateful farmer is putting a rabbit's foot to shame, his hand dangling around my neck as I play in the rain. My mother sits on the patio waiting for a second strike of lightning. She is a god, a witch, almost pharaoh, testing one of her theories about life. When she finished her cigarette and nothing happened, she giggled. I ran to the patio excited. How did I do? My first attempt at flying. You did good. Even when she lied, she was honest. In her eyes, I won't always be honest. I don't think she minded if it meant I wouldn't have to be a souvenir in the rain or dead to be good, passionate without the lightning, to be the face, to be in the face of fire and softly giggle, to be in the eye of any storm and still in awe of life. The cool breeze slamming the door between the living room and the child who smells like outside is just as honest as him laughing, like a god discovering lightning. Being outside reminds him he's free to be dirty and laugh about it in the rain. He tells his mother he's already showered. She giggles. The child soaking the carpet doesn't make him good or bad. It makes him young. She remembers that life.
Let's go, Joshua.
Gang. Give it up one more time. Oh shit, that's why I'm not spotlighting. There we go. Give it up one more time for Joshua Merchant. Gang. Judges, please send your scores into Tino. And for reference, our last poet, Alex the Great, got a score of a 29.8. Give it up for the scores and not the poets. Woo, damn. Woo. We are almost at the end of our first round. We only have 2 poets left because on deck, we have Solva, but coming up to the stage right now. Give a maximum love to the next poet coming up. Give it up for Shay.
Let's fucking go, Shay!
Mic check.
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Got about 45 days left, so still a bevy of time to pick when to do this. Some clothes. We finna rob Santa Claus. He gonna pay what he owe. Sick of this motherfucker always skipping my house every year like we don't pay tithes. Like we don't bake cookies. A bearded white man who watched everything and was coming back to bless you for being nice. It never makes sense in our neighborhood, but we learn to say our prayers anyway. Write our lists anyway because we wanted things. I wanted my mother off the naughty list. Want to know why she got to work every Eve, Xmas, and Boxing Day fighting to feed this family. Want to know how much fruitcake she got to make for her Jesus. Stop skipping his birthday parties. I wanted a bike when mine was stolen. My boys found out who got it. Figured we ride on him and let Jingle Bell rock till we found out his mama smoked it. So his bike turning her body into the chimney they never had. Nah, he just praying to get her off the cycle. I remember I started playing ball in high school. My parents got me one every year. I don't know if this was the only way they thought I'd make it out of here or if they just worked too many hours to know anything else about me. For college, I moved out the South to a city where it always snows. hoping that'll get me close to the privilege of a white Christmas. It's hard not to be the Grinch when every walk in your shoes a green mile. Meanwhile, back at home, my father's chestnut skin was roasting like an open fire because 3 unwise men with stockings over their heads open fire, trying to take our gifts in his presence. I found out from streets that always seem to hear everything but see nothing. I asked my mother why she didn't tell me. She tells me that it was more important that I focus in school. Like me being a good Christian capitalist is still more important than our fucking lives. And I'm fucking tired of this bearded bastard always giving our house like we ain't paid our fucking tithes. Jesus, Xmas supposed to be a birthday, but the Jesus I see get no candles, just crosses to bear and burn under, more likely to be in a box by age of 25 than to receive one on December 25th. No carols, just carols singing until sirens ringing. So fuck it. If Santa not gonna bring to the hood, we gonna bring the hood to Santa. I mean, I run in the North Pole with a long nose till everybody freeze. The elves all look like lawn gnomes. Lord knows the pain of people who pray for everything but got nothing. Now I'm not for busting. I'm packing bodies from the North Pole down to Wall Street. This is stocking stuffer. Load the bag and get the sleigh. Jack Frost will be in the way. Miss Claus under the mistletoe. Every kiss begins with case. This Christmas, my wish list, a hit list of rich men who sleigh ride to the moon just to skip the apocalypse. Every politician who ever promised a pot to piss, and I ain't taking naughty list names. I'm taking hostages. At the back door, hands up, Santa baby, you know the deal. It's candy coated rain in this piece. If I lift your soul for real, he said, "Don't touch the presents, mister." I'm the one that makes their soul. I'm like, "Don't touch the presents, mister." Kids can't hope with being hopeless. I'm the hope that makes their soul to heal. I say, save the crinkle. It's time for us to mingle. That was past tense. Give a fuck about your presence. I done got used to your absence. See, it's been coming up since I was about 7 years old. Boy, I dropped in your off season because I came for the cold. You see, if pressure make diamonds, my surroundings got the stress to make a chain here. Give one out for all the times you put a deaf ear to the pain here. Give them shine instead of shackles like most of the chains that we wear. And if we don't get to see sunshine, I think I might have to hold the reindeer. See, if we don't get to see sunshine, we're just gonna have to hold the reindeer. I mean, when you come for everything, you came from nothing.
Give it up one more time for Chef. Gang, 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 gang. And do I have my scores from the last poet? Scorekeeper? If I do, please send them to me again because I can't find them in the chat. But judges, send your current scores to Tino, and if you haven't already, send your scores for the last poet to Tino. And this is usually when I would announce this. There we go. And our last poet got a score of a 29.2. Give it up for the poet and not the scores. Gang, giddy, gang, giddy, gang. And I'll just add an extra gang on there for good measure. But we have come to the end of our first round. So on deck, we have a little surprise. I know we don't have a feature this week, but we do have a little quick surprise for you. But on deck, we have a surprise. But coming up to the stage, give maximum love to our last poet of the first round. Give it up for Solva.
Sound check?
We can hear you.
I did what I could to protect myself from the water and all it's expected to conceal. I am terrified of drowning, so I conjure a community from kiddie pool. Turn this ocean from ecosystem, from bounty, from open to barren, to sterile, to safe and yet sorry. You can still drown in shallow water if someone is holding you down. The word stop spills out of my mouth. A broken faucet drips again, floods the room. I hold my breath, realizing it was never really mine to hold like everything else. My survival is just another favor gifted to me from the kindness of someone else's heart, the mercy of someone else's hands. I'm getting dressed. A grin illuminated by your phone screen. The text reads, "Guess what I just did in a motel room? I turned my assault into conquest." Spectacle. Every slam needs an audience and a winner. Judges decide it's you. Take the stage, leaving me to resuscitate myself. Blocking you on Facebook doesn't stop it from advertising your features. Using a bevy of stolen poets to strip you of your of power. Reaching for my pussy during the slam is not the only way you get to score at my expense that night, and reporting you won't stop them from inviting you back to finals. Doesn't stop my publisher, my ex-coach, from giving you a national title. And I was told not to write about this. How the beloved poet could become trigger warning for every place I'm afraid to go back to. Call it cancel culture, not accountability. Flirting, not assault. Call it one mistake and not rape. Call them family. Poet, activist, not someone who can't keep their hands off what does not belong to them. Describe our closeness in blood is thicker than water, but isn't every family the same? Don't we always defend our most predatory member? Blame the most vulnerable? This is not the first time I have trusted my community and had it fuck me without my consent. Won the rapist reputation longer than I did for my virginity. It's been nearly 2 decades and my eyes are still bloodshot from chlorine and nights I spend terrified to close them. So now I write my poetry in fractions, worried about who could trace it back to who, not the traces of them still embedded in me, self to win. So that may be enough for people to actually listen to them, listen to me, listen to us. This is for every leaky faucet still running, too afraid to make waves, to reclaim their own breath. This is for us learning to float.
Gang, 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 gang. One more time for Solva. Woo! And judges, send your scores to Tino. Tino, what did the last poet get? Damn, I feel like the judges have been doing very well about getting their scores in, and then like the last 2 poets, Tino just like dropped the ball. I love you, best friend. All right, our last poet, Chev, got a score of a 30 out of 30. Give it up for the poet, not the scores. Woo! Gang, 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 gang. All right, I told you that we did not have a feature. We don't. We have what I like to call a mini feature from a mini human. One of our poet's daughters wanted to read a poem, and as a father, I just couldn't say no. So I would like to introduce to the stage, KK, are you ready? One minute. I know how it is trying to get kids anywhere.
Okay. Oh wait, where's your head? Hold on.
You're still muted.
Woo! We're really excited for you, though.
Oh, the it was muted.
Okay, sorry. They
There we go.
couldn't. So start again.
My name is KK and I have a poem.
All right, let's hear it.
I am beautiful. I am brave. I am strong. I can do anything.
That was an amazing poem. Good job. And
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Look, mark my words, KK, with like having a poem like that at your age and having it memorized, you're gonna kick all of our asses in slams growing up when you grow up. Like you're gonna win. You got the juice for this. Good job. Oh my gosh. That was best feature ever. Oh my gosh, you got to do another poem here one of these days. That was absolutely amazing. We love the kids. And
She said she only have one poem.
maybe you'll write another one. But if you do, we would love to hear you read again. It'll be absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, when my kid grows up, I want them to be doing poetry at that age. Oh my gosh. I don't know how we're ever gonna top that feature, but we're gonna try next week. I'm really excited to announce that our feature next week, who is, I don't care if it's not 2019 anymore, that's still my motherfucking teammate, Team Berkeley Slam 2019, the master of form poetry, Rust Belt 2019, third place in individual competitions. We have Zach Goldberg. I don't want just a glimpse into like how amazing of a writer this man is. Without a doubt, Zach's writing and being on a team with Zach. And I feel like everybody who was on the Berkeley Slam team at that time can say this. Like my writing in the last 2 years and how it has elevated and how much I have become a better writer in the last 2 years is definitely, at least partially, because of being on a team with Zach. Like you could not be slacking with the level of writing this man was putting out. And I'm really excited. Like he moved out of the Bay last year before last. So I'm really excited to see what he has been up to and what poems he's been writing in the last 2 years. I miss the dude a lot. But that'll be next week. Damn, Prophet said KK already got more bars than I do. Oh my gosh, everybody has loved that feature, and we have another amazing feature next week. But I do believe, if I'm looking at my list right, I'm not looking at my list right. Do we have the reverse order in the host checklist? And while
I'm updating that right now. Please give me a second. It's been a very tough night for me, y'all. Y'all have been amazing, and these scores are. Ugh.
All right, so before we move on, just a couple things. We are not the only show that we run that's run by Rich Oak Events. Berkeley Slam, we're here every single Wednesday. Jesus, every single Wednesday. We are right here on Instagram Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live. We are here on the interwebs. Every first and third Saturday is the Rich Oak Alchemy open mic on Instagram Live. Sign-ups are in the comment section of the sign-up list post. And every third Tuesday, if you rocking out with us here in the Bay, is the Oakland Slam. We're back in person over at Lucas Tap Room. Our next show, really dope. Fuck, it just slipped my mind who the fuck was featuring. Darius Simpson is featuring our next show. That dude is another talented writer, really funny, really amazing. Gang, gang, gang. Tino, as he was saying earlier, I would just like to give a shout out to the judges. Y'all have been hella consistent, but that means these scores are hella tight. It is anybody's game. If you did not make it into the second round, I'm sorry. Like, that's just how the chips fall that time. This is absolutely not indicative of your talent. In fact, it's pure luck because these scores are hella close, which means judges, I need y'all to stay as consistent as possible. Really think about your scores. Like, when you say that poem is a 9.2, ask yourself why, because these scores are hella close. And if Reggie was hosting, they would say that they hate ties. I don't hate ties. Tino, the scorekeeper, hates the fucking ties. But ties are fun for me, so do into that information as you will. And I do believe we have our list. So the poets will be performing in this order: Solva, followed by Chev, followed by Alex the Great, followed by Dog Days Are Over, followed by Miles. Give it up for everybody who performed tonight, whether or not they made it to the second round. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Gang, 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 gang. Please come back. Please come out to a writing workshop. They have been really amazing lately. Like, our facilitators have been putting out some dope shit. So yes, definitely all of that shit. But without further ado, let's get right into it. On deck, we have Chev, but coming up to the stage right now, give maximum love for our first poet of the second round. Give it up for Solva.
Yeah, let's go.
An ode to the white savior. Thank you so much for your service, but I'm gonna have to hand you your keys back because I am not your parking lot attendant. I will not be validating your feelings, let alone the space you've taken up, and I get it. I am brown. A pity party is the only way you know how to celebrate me. Pulling up in your Prius here to save me from reading my own poetry. Arms outstretched like hokey angel wings, halos of 4-bar lighting. Head sympathetically tilted so far left, I wonder if it's from the weight of your aggressively liberal views or your God complex. You crouch down to my level. You are so brave. Keep being honest. White people need to hear this, and you say this as if you are not white people. You ask me if I want a hug, but before I can reply, your arms are already around me. You don't care for my consent, but you applaud yourself for asking. And I get it. With your privilege, you probably fancy yourself to be some sort of martyr on a constant journey to the land of holier than thou. Every racialized poet is on their highway exit. You get off our pain, run us over, rolling down your windows to ask us why we have yet to forgive you, and I get it. With this shade of brown, you probably thought I was an extension of your semester abroad, but I'm not here to educate you. On your glorified vacation, there is no emotional labor scholarship. Affirmative action will not be appearing on your transcript. No expedited passport for this guilt trip. No first class tickets. No flight. You have to walk, carrying your own baggage, silently, discreetly, the way we do. Now, if you'd like to swoop in, now's a good time to save me the trouble. Remind me what happens when our children go missing. How yours is a national tragedy, mine an inconvenience. Granted, more complaints about their Amber Alerts than cops actually out there looking for them. Tell me about your veganism, or why you won't buy a Canada Goose jacket. Call it cruelty-free because no animals died, but forget. And hands of children overseas forced to work long hours for low wages because you rather be seen as a good person than actually become one. Febreze every shit show in an empty apology. Ask us again why we are not grateful. Take my 2 cents. Consider another penny for your thoughts. Keep the change, but refuse to make any. You are so brave. To walk on water and turn it to wine so you can bitch about having to part the sea for the rest of us. Hop on your performative allyship and sail your ass away. Hasn't your skin always been holier than mine? Just ask your white Jesus, your white God, making pedestal for every platform, every space before this has been reserved to honor you. Correction, you have conquered all of our spaces and forced us to worship you, and now I get it. This is Sunday, but this is not church. I'm not here for your service, nor am I here to serve you. So next time you toss me your keys, I will key your fucking Prius.
Let's go.
Gang. Give it up one last time for Solva.
Oh no, best friend froze. Frozen for me too. Oh no. Best friend, why are you Elsa? It could be their internet. Colin, what should we do? The host has asked me to start my video. Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Hey everyone, how's it going? I am your lovely lovely scorekeeper. I'm sorry, this is really awkward. I wasn't expected to get the hosting shindig handed to me. What's up? Let's see. Would you like to highlight Reggie instead? They can take over right now for hosting while Colin gets back on top of that. I know Chev is next. I'm gonna hand it over to Reggie very quick while we figure out what's going on with Colin. Arvin, thank you.
Hello. I was just in the bathroom and I came out and our host is gone. So that's where we're at. Wow, don't we love technology, everybody? But I'm your host's twin, so it's almost as if he never left. Just changed his hair and his pronouns and is just sitting here. Wow. Okay. So I am trying so hard to find the actual list. Here we go. Oh, yeah, this is super lit. Yeah, we'll be fine. I thought I had to do this way longer than this list actually says I have to, so I do not actually have to work up nearly as much social energy as I thought I would. All right. We're gonna keep it pushing, which means that on deck. Did we even get the last poet scores? Like, where are we?
We
just started round 2.
We started round 2?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm telling you, it's a doozy right now.
How the fuck long was I in the bathroom? Jesus. You know, you get to scrolling through TikTok and you like lose all track of time. Fuck. And it's reverse order. I don't even know who made it into the second round. Okay. Oh, here we go. I have the list. Thank you, Prophet. Thank you. All right, we're just gonna twerk it out a little bit, throw it back a little bit, you know, throw back all those bad vibes. Bad vibes, we twerk out the bad vibes and then bring in the good vibes, because on deck we have Alex the Great. But give maximum love to the next person coming up in the slam. Give it up for Chef.
Mic check.
I can hear you.
Dr. King once said that if it falls your lot in life to be a street sweeper, go forth and sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Like Beethoven composed music, like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Be the best at whatever you are. Take pride in your work. Because depression come when there's no pride left to take. You see, 23 years ago, it felt my lot to be a nigga. 3 years ago, it felt to be a dropout. 2 years ago, it felt to be homeless. I felt a lot. I starved so much, my body turned broomstick. Hell, I cried so much. My body turned mop to it felt my lot to be a poet. I slammed for food money, sometimes in packed venues, most times in packed train cars, all times in ugly mirrors, trying to see myself good at something. I felt in love on my train car stage. Some days I wanted to stand on the tracks and give it a kiss at full speed. I'm Michelangelo, the smile on my jaw that felt like graffiti. Hoping to be arrested for vandalism because they served 3 meals a day in prison. I performed in only the most gentrified of areas to avoid anyone I knew. Places where everybody's favorite poems, just something about black kids dying, painting strange fruit the only way they knew to feed the starving artists. So I turned my notebook pages back into the trees we hung from, hoping that the firewood to keep me warm at night. A white woman hands me $1, turns to her daughter and tells her I'm the most talented bum she's ever seen. Better than every hoodlum rapper on this train yesterday, and I wonder how pretty I must have made both of our deaths sound. Wondered if plucking bodies from pavement to make my meal make me a street sweeper or a vulture, but my thoughts get drowned out by the growl in my stomach saying get through the poem. That night, 2 guys pulled a knife on me in a subway, and I became jealous of my shadow. I was able to disappear in times of darkness. They left nothing but darkness in my pockets after taking my pride, my cell phone, and some white woman's dollar. Do you know what it is to lose everything when you have already had nothing? The police asked if I was on the way home at the time of the robbery, and I don't want to tell them that this was a home invasion. That I'm so broke, I'm broken into, that this body be larceny stolen from a person with reason to live. I'm a street sweeper in a desert, and the dust in my lungs has made it too hard to pray. And all Dr. King got to say is whatever you do in life, do it like 3 white men who are already dead. Capitalism say, you look like the most talented vulture we've ever seen. My stomach say, boy, get through the fucking poem before you got to start in someone else's. My pride say, stop apologizing for being alive, because sometimes sweeping streets feel a lot like cleaning caskets. The first draft of this poem was a train car kiss. A suicide note written on an ugly mirror because depression came and there was no pride left to take. If you threw a brick through the windows of my soul, you'd have found nothing but time and a pen. So I wrote myself a future. I wrote myself here in front of you. I wrote the eulogy to everything that has ever tried to kill me. It's titled, I am not Beethoven, I'm music. Not Michelangelo, I am the painting. No Shakespeare, I am poetry. I am all the pride that comes with finding the art in yourself. I am the best at whatever I am. Even on the days when all that is alive.
Gang,
I know that's right.
Gang. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties. Xfinity is racist, like, to be honest. I don't know what to tell y'all. My internet was racist. They don't want to see a black man host this shit. So it cut off on me. But we're back. We're back. Thank you to Reggie for holding it down. You know, it wasn't too much of a shock because, you know, we share a face and everything, but thank you, and thanks for y'all for bearing with us through the technical difficulties. Right, where were we? Okay, that's where we are in the slam. On deck, we have Dog Days Are Over, but coming up to the stage right now, give maximum love for Alex the Great.
Let's go, Alex.
In my most vivid of dreams, I live in a state of pure euphoria, where fantasy crosses over to reality. I don't know a world in which I didn't know my history. Minority is a word just as foreign to me as illiterate. Everyone a scholar in their own birthright. Du Bois had not developed a concept of the talented 10th because Black folk were the exceptional 100%. There was no protest against affirmative action. 209 is only an area code, not a prop or foul or reason to call time out. Our history in ancient Egypt, rooted in royalty, dressed as deity, is equal parts of the curriculum, just as integral as the Constitution, just as American as apple pie. My name is still my name, and my brother's name, and my sister's name, and my grandmother's name, no matter how much practice it takes to say correctly. I am worth a summoning without mispronunciation, and added pause if need be, not in need of correction. Provide me a seance so I can convene with the ancestor Thurgood, and we instill some martial law over this injustice. I have taken my power back because we all know the pen is mightier than the sword. That's why they say the mind is sharp. To say I'm smart is an understatement. I am ingenious. I was born with the intellect of 4 generations. Just stop by outside of my mind to say Black folks never needed you to give us a holiday. Everything we got, we earned. Everything you bought, you take, you steal, you lie. And as the story goes, you lie, you a thief, you kill, you murder, you murder her. You murderer. And you live to talk about it another day. You smile in our face, you spit on our grandfather's graves, you desecrate the sanctity of our names, but you cannot stop this praise. Shake down the leaves, but you cannot trim the roots away.
Woo! Gang, gang,
Let's
gang,
go,
gang, 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 gang,
Alex.
gang. Give it up for Alex the Great one last time. And judges, give Tino your Escorios. And for reference, since I missed the last poet, Solva got a score of a 28.7 in the second round, and Chev, our last poet, got a score of a 29.3. Give it up one more time for the poets and not the scores. Gang, 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 gang. We out here for poetry. All right, we are, oh shit, man, these second rounds go fast. We are almost at the end of our whole show. We have 2 poets left. So on deck, we have the last poet of our slam, Miles. But give it up for our penultimate poets. Give maximum love to Dog Days Are Over.
Mic check.
Mic is checking out just fine.
Voice 1. Masculinity is too often wildfired explosion entrapped in a body, waiting for oxygen to catalyst the hydrogen bomb it was taught to broken into. 1. This breaking beast daggers my every absent vein. Within a murder scene of crows whispers, you can't name me better than I can. Voice 0. I, breaking beast of toxic masculine masquerades demand, say confidence, adorn your broken, ridiculed if you don't, say insecurity, lockbox your eyes from its poison road, kill if you don't, masculine, masquerade, masturbate, only your kind can speak self-pleasuring, so you seem less shattered sand, the gilded glass, Macedon, massacre, there's a crumbling cathedral inside your hands, don't point out its gray-stained glass, how the glisten often blinds, wordless eyes, and bleeds. Everything does in the end. 1. I attempt to say his name just to curse it. Toxic masquerade. Lethal massacre. Toxic masquerade. 2. Killinity. To delineate myself from masks or mastodon massacres, I must remember. Listen to the honeysuckle my mother milked for my infancy, how her pink carnality of bouqueted carnations bled fountain upon mounted fountain, till I was sectioned out her womb, a wet wonder, a lifted lotus. 2. Why does our culture actively colonize landscapes of body birthing most? I wash the blood of every ancestral brokening axe away at the walls embedded in my ears by voice 0, grain by grain. 2. I sing confidence and insecurity in the same melody. This broken bone fierce crow walk. I roadkill a lockbox and hear a mask splitting itself open, bloodless wound. Fuck voice 0 in his hollow cathedral cabinets with soured wine. I am both shattered sand and gilded glass. I won't apologize for it or my queerness. My mother's and sister's lineages have mastodoned themselves down with too many insincere sorries for men that would rip the silence from their throat and mastodon violence down their gale flute windpipes. Voice 1 has yet to gradually acknowledge this. 2. I seal back my arteries hidden within a murder scene of prose, killed for being oracle whistleblower to toxic masculine blood drains. My sister and mother held veined daggers hidden under their skin. All this time, they've had to battle masquerades long before I bewail blood from my wounds, find a man I can finally potentially love, both another and myself, for even just an unbrokening masquerade. Can anyone show me what I cannot fathom?
All right, give it up one more time for Dog. Your days are over. Gang, 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 gang. Judges, get your scores into Tino. And for reference, Alex the Great got a score of a 29.2. Give it up for the poet and not the scores. Woo! It's been a long night of poetry, but it is unfortunately not an all-night party. It is coming to an end because on deck we are going to find out who won this slam and go home. But coming up to the stage right now, give maximum love to our last poet of slam. Give it up for Miles.
One last mic check.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
This poem is called There Are No Such Things as Poems. I think most lie in crevices of 9-letter words tucked in the folded over tone that seeks never to offend, a timber that wants to propel itself forward through space, and time and again we can't win for losing. I was taught to not say can't in mixed company, but some 20 odd years of articulating with an intonation of a superior register just to be safe, and still I fall into place on the same unemployment line where now I find it funny, or perhaps I consider it acutely amusing how often we remake ourselves in images of failure. I mean, if you want to speak with a certain inflection or gravitas or emanate a particular milieu, that's on you. But what I mean more is the peering around the corner, waiting, lurking for the black boogeyman you rumple stilt-skinned into breathing yarn. I know I'm not supposed to say all this in a poem, but there is no such thing. Laughing until the only thing that makes sense is texting in Tableau, spitting slideshows with the homies, and God bless the child that means their own because now they've made a poem. Puckered into your embrace, your kiss until I liquefy into a puddle of my own vulnerability, and see, that's a poem too. Walking to the corner, mask chafing my ears, pulling them into the sacred kind of ashy. Only your closest will dab with their thumb, moist in their suck, teasing. Man, look at this old ashy ear nigga here, man. Even Dumbo kept his shit right, my nigga. What is your excuse? And your eyes will moisten its own fuck. You will jab a dozen back that you later forget, and that is most definitely a poem. The best counting poem ever written was the one that measured the seconds between, mommy, I got diagnosed with OCD, and ultimately, Okay, the first best friend ever made, then lost, another poem. The next best friends I made, then lost, were poems too. Matter of fact, my homies and I were all poems together. My niggas were always poems until they stretched their newly etched stanzas, unhinged the wide mouths of their meter to only become capitalists. The last of my poems died on a train platform in DC, not too far from the courthouse. I saw my poem from a distance, and since it had been a while since we'd held each other's forms, I dapped my poem up and asked how his mom and sister were doing. And then my poem started to lurch and heave as we realized our mutual illegibility. My poem convulsed across the platform's mud-washed octagons as our fellow writers impatiently wrapped their penny loafers or bathed their faces in the soggy glow of their iPhones. And before I can curdle a scream at their arrogant disregard, my poem looks at me. It tells me it cares no longer for itself to be illustrated. It's focused instead on business, on how to sell. And then my poem died on the train platform while the American worker hurriedly stepped over its black matter. That's a motherfucking poem. But that is not how they mark my poems, body.
Ooh! Woo! Come on, poet!
Give it up one more time for Miles.
Woo!
Our last poet. I'm sorry, I was just off screen a little bit hitting the digital marijuana. But our last poet got a score of a 28.5. Give it up for the poet and not the scores. And while we're waiting for our last poet's scores as well as the scores for the night, I'm just gonna ramble about some shit. We have really dope shows going on, like really dope shit. First and foremost, right here, every Wednesday, Berkeley Slam. We're the shit every week. That's actually what makes Berkeley Slam the shit. It's not only the high quality poetry, but like the dedicated team that that works their ass off to put on a weekly show. Yeah, Berkeley Slam's the shit. Then you have the Rich Oak Alchemy open mic every first and third Saturday. Anybody who's been there will tell you that show feels like home. So again, it's the shit. And then we have every third Tuesday is the Oakland Poetry Slam, one of the oldest poetry slams in the Bay. That shit's always great. A really big staple in Bay Area culture. In other words, it is the shit, but that's not the only thing that we're up to. God damn, I want to pull up this flyer, but we're working with a jazz band out in Berkeley, so we're going to be sending feature poets out there, so check them out. I will pull up information as we're announcing scores. We still don't have the first, second, and third place yet. Our last poet, Miles, got a score of a 28.7. Gang. All right, and so for that other show that we're doing, I pulled up the information. Oh shit, there's video. The show has video. So at the back room in, I do believe, Berkeley, there is a jazz and funk band that will be playing music alongside Berkeley Slam poets. That will be Sunday, November 21st at 4 p.m. at the back room in Berkeley. I do believe that is. There will be more information on that. But it is a free show, so come out, hear great music, great poetry. There's absolutely, if you're in the area, you like poetry and you like music, there's no reason not to go. Money's not an issue here. The only issue is whether or not you want to get up off your ass and see some poetry. That's the only issue. We are working to do more shows in Berkeley, more shows in Oakland, maybe shows in Richmond. So really check us out. I'm not gonna give out all our details on the shit we're working on, but keep your eyes peeled for shit we have coming up, because it's gonna be an amazing 2022. 2020 had us shook. 2021 was rebuilding, and we are back better than ever for 2022. Please keep your eyes open. It's gonna be amazing. And fuck! Hold on, let me not say that too loud. I'm gonna wake up the baby. I'm sorry, Tino just sent me scores. My laptop is gonna. Let's go another angle here. Ooh, I like this angle. Ooh, it's kind of like I like avant-garde off to the side and shit, kind of like sideways. And this is important too. We got to figure out how this is gonna happen. Cool. So before I announce the rest of the scores, we have a tie for third place between Solva and Miles with a 58.7. The cash prize for third place is $20. We have a couple options. One, we can do like really good sportsmanship. Like it would be great for like the culture of slam and like sportsmanship and showing that we're all a community and a team. Y'all split the money, $10 each, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But if y'all want to compete, y'all want to get like ratchet up in here, fuck the culture, I'm here for money. We could do a haiku battle. It's up to y'all.
I don't think I have a haiku. I mean,
I'll give y'all time to write one on the spot. I'll give y'all like 2 minutes. I might do a poem just to bullshit to give y'all time. But again, I'm not biased either way. Y'all
does
can
it for real have to
decide.
be a haiku, or you just mean something short?
Haiku. Let's keep this form. Really see if we're gonna do a competition to see who's third place. Let's see let's put your pen game to the test.
Can I use a haiku I've already used before?
Yes, of course. You can use a haiku you have already used before, one that's pre-written. You can write one on the spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a haiku. So I'm good with whatever y'all want to decide. If you want to write one real quick, I'm cool with that, but I don't have one already written.
It's okay. We'll split it. It's cool.
All right. So they have decided to split the money. Gang, community, good sportsmanship. We love it. You know, the organizer in me is just like, yes, we love to see like folks doing this and like making sure that like poets are getting paid and like as the money gets spread out between the community. But like the former athlete in me is just like, damn, this would have been lit. I love to see competitions, especially if I don't have to compete. That should be stressful. All right, moving on with our scores. In second place, winning a grand total of $30, which I have been told by the math community is exactly $10 more than 20. Give it up for your second place winner, Alex the Great. Gang. Anything you want to say to the people? Nothing, just thank you. Yeah, Alex is great. Thank you so much for coming out. And in first place, winning a grand total of 50, I hope they're American dollars. Give it up for our first place winner, Chef.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Like that 50 is really gonna help because I'm over here seeing how tragic my fridge is right now, and I'm like, oh yeah, we gonna bless this. So thank you all.
Yes.
Make it happen.
Oh my
and
gosh.
like I'm now like a Miles fan. I was already a Silva fan, like an Alex fan, but I'm a Miles fan too now because I'm like, that was crazy. Like,
don't gas me up.
I need the book.
Okay, let's talk about it though.
Don't gas me.
I need the book for it.
Oh my gosh, we could sit here.
I need to know if that poem is recorded anywhere. That's all I need to know.
Which one?
That last poem is not a poem.
I'm gonna get on it just for you.
That was great. Oh my gosh. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to Miles. Thank you to Chef. Thank you to Solva and Mai and Joshua Merchant. And Dog Days Are Over. And am I forgetting anybody? Is that everybody who performed? I think that's everybody who performed. Thanks to everybody who performed. Thank you so much to Reggie for sacrificing. Thank you so much for Prophet for about managing and making sure we had all of our shit together tonight. Thank you so much, Patino, for doing math on the fucking stage. Night for Arvin for live streaming all this shit for that so that y'all can see this on the interwebs. And most importantly, thank you for spending this time tonight just hearing us in this Zoom meeting by ourselves, do poetry and talk shit and have a good time. It's like really dope to be able to do this for y'all, especially over the internet, and reach as many people as possible. So thank y'all for rocking out with us tonight. I don't know. I guess I'll leave you with some parting advice. Spay and neuter your pets and don't talk to strangers. We will see you next time.